We're raising capital at a $10 million valuation.
If you do not take that risk and you don't put the money where your mouth is, someone else will, and that person is going to grow faster than you.
We're not going to go out there and buy a Ferrari because we think that's going to make the network better.
A Lambo, yes. Ferrari, no.
I'm chasing like a dream of buying my mom a $10 million house. Once you grow, you should never talk to your childhood friends because they don't have the same dreams. Before they go in, they don't even know what their exit plan is, and that's how they get stuck there forever. We're launching a little giveaway where if you buy any piece of merch from any of the shows under MBH TV, you're entered to win cash. Welcome back to the MBH podcast, Money Buys Happiness. Appreciate y'all zapping in. We took a week off last week. The boys have been fucking busy. We've been so busy, dude.
We've been grinding.
Yeah. And in doing that, I want to apologize because I feel like we've taken a little bit of a back seat in terms of like our pod and giving you guys like the highest level, which obviously we always want to do, but was for a reason. Yes. It was for a reason, and it continues to be for a reason. We're building.
It's going good, though.
Yeah, it's going good. It's going really good. Just wanted to give some context of like why we haven't been so dialed in on our own pod, but
we're about to because we're headed to Miami.
Yes,
for the summer.
Yep.
We got some big plans. Got some big guests. And with MBH TV, we got huge plans. That's kind of like what we've been working on a lot. I would say the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But now it's coming to life. Like now it's time. It's fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You know, we're putting things together. So if you guys watched maybe some of our last host episodes, we mentioned it a bit about our project with MBH TV. Pretty much a independent media network based in North America for now. But to make it very simple for you, I would just say it's a play on Barstool in a way, our own version of it.
Yep.
But making it cooler, making it more of a variety of niches, talent, stuff like that. Obviously, Barstool is very sports related, but they have other stuff. But, you know, we're taking a different approach, and it's very unique. And, you want to get into...
Yeah, we'll break it down a little bit. So, like, essentially, when Ernesto says Barstool, what he means by that is, like, a talent network. So, obviously, we have our show, our podcast, we have our own brand deals, we have our own... content that we put out on all the platforms. We have our own merch, we have our own everything.
Yeah.
And essentially, we are not only scouting talent, people that already have shows or have followings that we believe can build something, can build some sort of content series, whether that be a podcast, whether that be sort of a YouTube game show or segment or whatever. So we're scouting people who already have it, and we're also at the same time willing to work with people who we believe have the talent, maybe don't have the following, but we're willing to help them build it and invest in them. So that's super high level. And in doing that, I'm sure you guys have seen some of the shows that we've had under the network so far. Catamania with Christina Cataman.
Killer show, by the way. Go check that out.
Show. She's a fucking...
especially if you're a female. I mean, both female and male can relate, but especially females with that show. She kills it. She's a great role model for females.
100%.
Yeah.
We got the Girls Next Door, based out of Toronto, who are crushing it. They're growing. The channel's growing. Page is growing. And then obviously our show, and we have Price to Sell, which is our more like real estate focused show. And then we're excited. This is a big one for us. This is going to be probably our biggest signing to date.
Yes.
You guys might be familiar with them. They've been on our podcast before, and we've been working on this deal since like October of 2023. It's been a while. Because there's a lot of moving parts, and we're obviously still learning this business. So I don't want to just jump into anything, but until we make sure that it's done right. But Sergio Talks. So
huge.
So we
shout out the boys over there, Sergio, Carl, Matthew.
Yeah.
Fucking killers, bro.
Yeah.
Bunch of studs.
Yeah, like we had them on the pod, beauties, and that was like I think back in September or October of 2023. And we basically were just like, guys, like this is what we are planning with the network, and we want to bring them on. So yeah, without further ado, they are officially a part of the MBH TV network. And it's super cool because so we now have a stake in their current show, which is the Sergio Talks podcast, but we also are building out another channel for them. That's going to be a whole different type of content, a whole different segments and things like that. So that's a big one for us. And that's something that we're excited to like announce and get launched probably at the end of this month. We'll have their new channel launch. We've been shooting pilots and different style content for them. You guys might have seen on the stories and stuff, but
Guys, before we launch these things, and we spend a lot of money testing things out. That's one thing too. So when we say it takes months, or in Sergio Talks situation, 8 months maybe,
yeah,
around there. Yeah. There's a lot of things that go into it, right? And they have a successful show already. So for us, we're just looking to complement that, make them more money, put them on a different kind of pedestal. But maybe some of you are asking, like, how are you guys even getting this talent? Like, why are they joining you?
Yeah.
What's the benefit in them joining you? Because
it's a great question.
Some of this talent, you're gonna look at them and say, wow, these guys are already big, or this person's already big. They might even have a bigger following than us. And the reason why they've been joining us, in my opinion, and I think we share the same opinion, is that we've built up a lot of leverage with our brand throughout the years. What does that mean? We've done a lot of great collaborations, brought on a lot of cool people on the pod that has raised our legitimacy. So we are bigger than we seem. With that being said, we also have a full team. We have a structure. We look at our podcast as a business, as a corporation. So when you look at it that way, you have all the pieces to make it an actual business. A lot of these creators out there, and I don't blame them at all, they don't have that support back end, right? They don't have a team. They don't have an admin. They don't have staff that they can look to, editors. Usually they don't have any of this staff. So what we did is we built all of that first for our show, Price to Sell, and our clients. And we worked backwards and we said, hey guys, you're doing great, but we have the infrastructure to take you to the whole other level. So because they're able to trust us in that sense, and again, they only trust us because we've proved it over the past 3, 4, 5 years. Yeah, so with that being said, they see us rocking and rolling every day. They see the people we're with. And this is why it's so important to document what you do all the time. Because if we didn't do that, we'd have no proof of concept. So they look at us and they say, okay, you know what? Maybe I do have a bigger audience, but these guys know what they're doing when it comes to monetizing a business, taking it to the next level, scaling it, and getting the right people involved.
Yeah, I think a big piece to that is, and it's funny, and we'll get into this portion really shortly, but like Ernesto and I, we're before content creators, or before you want to call us a podcasters or whatever the fuck you want to call us, like we were and still are business people first. Like we're businessmen first. Like we build businesses, not shows. That's how it started. Now the podcast, this podcast became what it did, obviously for a bunch of different reasons, but essentially like we know how to build a business first. Agreed?
Yep.
And so I think that that's the biggest piece when it comes to creators, like Ernesto mentioned. A lot of times creators are just creators, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
Like they know how to create content that's viral. They know how to build an audience.
We're the first ones to say focus on what you're good at.
100%. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of these creators, guys like the Sergio Talks boys, like they are killer podcasters. Yes. They are killer creators. They know how to engage an audience. They know how to grow. They know how to build this loyal community, even in some aspects better than us.
Of course.
But like you mentioned, we've gone on the back end and said, okay, if a creator knows how to build this audience and build this following, do they also know how to monetize? There's processes in the back end. Like if you guys seen the back end processes of what it takes to run a show properly and monetize properly, you would trip out. And the reality is we look at some of these shows because we've had conversations with people who have, 1 million subscribers, hundreds of thousands of followers on social media who are making less money than us.
Yep.
But that's because we've built the processes. We understand how to run it as a business first.
Yes.
And therefore, we can monetize faster and better than these bigger platforms, these bigger shows. Mm-hmm. So that's a reason why anybody who's bigger than us, audience-wise, follower-wise, subscriber-wise, is actually interested in working with us because we can show them our back-end numbers and say, hey, this is what we've done with an audience maybe 30% of yours. Yep. Yet we made more money than you last year. Yeah. Right? And it not in a flex way, but in a way to say, hey guys, so imagine if we integrated our processes into your show with this audience, dude, you guys would be flying. Like you made X amount of dollars, we could probably 10X it.
Of course.
No word of a lie, right?
Of course.
So that's a big reason why we've had success in bringing on bigger creators than ourselves to our network. And that's where the trust aspect comes into it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to continue to do. Now, the beautiful part of it is we've gone out and we've built a team outside of like our team of editors and account managers and all that portion, like the back end side. we've built a team of absolute monsters who are going to help us raise some capital now.
Of course.
Which I'm really excited about. That's something that I've personally been fucking hammering down on, and just understanding that like the biggest businesses in the world, the absolute biggest ones, all went through this process.
Of course.
Right? So Ernesto and I have always had dreams of building $1 billion business, like that fucking that 1 billion, maybe hopefully 10 one day. But we've always had that vision. And I realized like you need capital to grow at a rate where it becomes realistic.
Yep.
So for us to hit that number, I realized we needed capital. We got some good partners after a lot of conversation. We put some good partners together, and we're raising capital at a number that to me felt crazy to say at the beginning. So we're raising capital at a $10 million valuation, US dollars. Obviously, in this business, that is the currency that people operate in, not Canadian. It's Canadians with like pesos nowadays.
Yep.
And so we're going out, and we're in the middle of raising that capital as we speak. We have big plans with that. Maybe you want to break down what our plans are with that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you guys, it doesn't take much, but you guys for sure know, if you've been listening to any of our pods, how much we love Miami and we believe in Miami. The market there, we believe that we fit in perfectly. We believe that there's a void for a team like ours there, a network like ours there, with all the creators moving out there. Everyone's moving and shaking out there, spending money, making a lot of money. The momentum there is insane. So for us, one of the main things we wanted to do was make the permanent move to Miami in terms of having a headquarters there. Yeah. So we will be building out MBH TV's headquarters in Miami in the next 6 months. Yep. So I'm pumped for that. That's like a huge milestone for us.
Massive.
It's not going to be like, it's not. This is going to be a legit studio, a legit hub for creators. Anyone in town, anyone that's coming to town, anyone that lives there is going to be invited there to create with us. It's going to be a home for a lot of creators. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be home for all our creators. We're going to have a bunch of studios in there. Yeah,
to put it into perspective, and obviously space dependent, and we're still looking at some spots, but we're looking at like some like warehouse spaces where we can build out, 4 to 5 separate podcast studios, all soundproofed, like really sick design. A couple just like creator studios, like the big curved white walls, like so people can do like any type of content. You want to do like YouTube content, you want to do shoots for your fucking merch, whatever, like anything. And then maybe like a co-working space, like and sort of an event space. Like we're looking at something probably in the range of like 7,000 to 10,000 square feet to start. And hopefully we can continue to grow that. But we really believe that there's this void, like you mentioned, Ernesto, like there's no creator studio like that in Miami, which sounds crazy because Miami is becoming what I believe like the new LA in terms of creators. The biggest creators are not only moving there, but also Miami is birthing some massive creators who are like, where do I go to shoot content like this? Like there's no space for it, right? And so we believe that we can build that space not only for our in-house creators, but also for any creators that just want to use the space. So that's a big piece of like where our investment's going. And then the other side of where the investment's going is obviously to build out the team, key hires, things like that. But then also to go out and chase some like really, really big talent. We have some names on the list that we believe are just like diamonds that for some reason people haven't been able to pick up. That I won't say on this podcast because I don't want anyone to go steal our ideas. No. But we have some really sick creators that we have on this list. And, we're going to go out and poach them and see if we can bring them onto the network. And I have, full confidence that we're going to be able to do that. And once we do that, I really think like going into 2025, we're going to be in a crazy position where guys like PBD at Valuetainment and Portnoy at Barstool and everybody else, that they're going to be forced to be like, who the hell are these guys? I mean, PBD knows us, but you know what I mean? Like, look at us in the sense of like,
you got to pay attention.
Are these? Exactly. Like you have to, because they're like, hey.
And I want to talk about that because a lot of people might be listening and saying like, okay, you guys built leverage, you guys did that, but how? Because that's what brought us here. Yeah. Right. So it's like, but how? And I was having this conversation the other day with Nick Regina. Shout out our guy Nick. And we always have these conversations where it's like, how come we're where we are? How come we're in the position we are today? Yeah. And maybe you can also say, how come not many people are in that position today? And it's simply this. I think I've come up with it. We spend more money. I'm not.
No,
I'm not joking.
No,
And
I can break down the finances. It's true.
No, of course, but if you put a number to it and you estimate how much money we spent on our pod before going into a capital raise at all, we spent close to like $500,000 on our pod easily.
No, easily.
Without knowing for sure any dollars are coming in. Like we have sponsors and stuff, but again, those things are external that can leave any day.
Yeah.
Right? So for anyone out there, if you do not take that risk and you don't put the money where your mouth is, someone else will, and that person is going to grow faster than you. So whenever someone says to me, what's a good piece of advice that you have for me as a business owner? I say spend money. I say take more risks, because when you put yourself in that situation, you put yourself in that 1%, you're going to be the 1% because you're doing things that other people will not. Now, in terms of work ethic, I think anyone can put in the extra 2 hours a day of work.
Easily.
Okay. But not anyone will put an extra $20,000 a month into their business or into themselves. And the people that we know that personally do that spend a lot of money on investing in themselves and their businesses, those are the ones that we rock and roll with. Those are the people that we partner up with to do things.
So there's a term for it. It's called the point of no return. Okay.
There you go.
And what is the point of no return? The point of no return in business and personal development is investing in yourself, putting money down that somebody with a, safe mindset would say, no, don't spend that much money. Don't spend $10,000 on your podcast. Don't spend $20,000 on that brand deal or this or that. But if you don't, and you don't put yourself at the point of no return, you'll never have the motivation to do the real work. Of course. So like you mentioned, sure, you can do 2 hours and whatever, extra 2 hours of work, but not. But if you don't have the pressure of like, oh my God, I just spent $20,000 building out this podcast and I haven't seen $1 of return back from it yet, you're not gonna be motivated to sit in front of the camera and get the good guests and do the outreach to find the people and get the good studio and get the good cameras and do all that stuff. You need to spend the money to the point where the bank account looks empty so that you can work hard enough because you have no other choice.
Exactly.
And I think that's exactly the point you're making. And I think like,
I'll give you 2 examples right now.
Yeah, sure.
First example, is what we did. What did we do? We started a podcast. We spent about $10,000 on equipment right off the bat. Hired a shooter. And spent our time as well. So think about all the value that went into that. That's scenario 1. Scenario 1, by the way, like I said, we're looking at it after spending the money and saying, we're not quitting.
Yeah.
This is not something that we're quitting anytime soon. Okay, scenario 1, beautiful. Scenario 2, you spend $100 to start your podcast. Guess what? That's easy to quit. Because you're going to say, I just lost $100. That's all I lost. If I stop today, no one will know, and I lost $100.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's so easy.
I think
That's so easy to walk away from. So unless you're putting the pressure on yourself, and again, it doesn't have to be $10,000, could be whatever is expensive to you at the time. But if it's not expensive to you at the time, you can walk away from it at any moment.
Yeah, like,
it's like that $30 gym membership. You go the first 3 days, and you're like, I don't have to go anymore. It's only $30.
Yeah.
But go get a trainer that costs $5,000 a month.
But you make a good point. Right? Some people are going to be like, well, I don't have $10,000 for equipment. Okay, but what's an amount that's for you that's like, damn, I can't afford to just spend this money. And so if that's $1,500 for you, if that's $2,000 for you, whatever that number is go spend it.
Yes.
Put yourself at the point of no return where you're like, fuck, I just spent all this money. I invested all this money in this project. I absolutely need to stay consistent with it now and take it to the next level.
You have to be a savage.
But then
you have to be a savage. And what I mean by this is
100%.
like, you know me as well. And everything that I try to preach all the time since day one of us meeting is like, Searles, bro, we got to build the gap between us and everyone else to the point where they look at us and they cannot catch up.
Yeah.
So the only way you can do that, the fastest way is money.
Yeah.
Right? So you look at someone that's a competitor to you, and this can be in any industry, by the way.
Yeah.
Because there can be a nightclub side by side.
Yeah.
Whoever's spending the most on marketing, they're probably doing better.
I agree.
Most likely.
Yeah.
There's 2 gyms across the street from each other. Who's doing better? The ones that are investing in their equipment, their influencer marketing, their strategy, their social media. They're making more and they're spending more.
But I want to even like put this into perspective of like how savage we've been continuously, right?
Forever.
So at the beginning we spent, let's put the number $10,000 on the equipment, whatever, and then we spent about $250,000 on this podcast before we even saw $1 back.
Before full send.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Before we saw $1 back.
Yeah.
The first time we saw real dollars back was when we got our full send deal.
Yeah.
They didn't give us money directly, but obviously that lifted us up. We got some brand deals at that point. I'd say we got to a point where in the beginning of our full send deal, we were probably making off of a couple brand deals, maybe 30 to 40,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
How much did we spend a month, bro?
More than that.
Yeah, I know. And that's what's crazy.
More than that.
That's the point I want to make. So it's like, okay, even when this podcast started making money, it's not like me or Nestor were like, hey, fuck, oh my God, we made $40,000 this month off this podcast. We weren't like, okay, bro, you take 20, I take 20, and then we just go buy some Rolexes. Yeah, okay, buddy. We took that money. We did outreach. We got ourselves Adam 22. We got PBD. We flew there. We flew our team there. We upgraded the equipment. We spent money on this. We spent money on that. Like, and it was like we just kept going because again, we got back to the point where we said, okay, we're making 40 now a month. Let's just put at that number, right? We're gonna spend 40 a month now so that we're forced to make 80.
Yes.
And so I think that's like the continuous thing. And that's like, so it's like, okay, get yourself off the ground. Point of no return, but then you can never get comfortable.
No.
So even when you hit that number that 3 years ago you thought would make you happy. So it's like 3 years ago, you're like, fuck, if I could make 40,000 a month off this podcast, wow, I'd be living the dream. But you're not a real savage if you make that 40 and then you're like, I need to make 100 now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to
100%.
say? And that's how we've been. And even to bring it back now to this network that we're building, prior to this investment that we're working on and this capital raise, every dollar that MBH, our show, makes off our brand deals that we have and any revenue and whatever, we're taking all of that and putting it into building this network.
Yes.
Me and you are taking nothing personally, right?
Okay, let me ask you something. So the first stage, we had the pod, right? And we're like, okay. In our mind, we knew something. We're like, okay, if we want to be one of the best pods in Canada, how can we do that? And then we said, okay, if we have a full team, we're spending on ourselves. If we're spending 30 G's a month, I can comfortably say I don't know another podcast in Canada that's doing that.
100%.
Okay. So what does that mean to me? That's kind of like a light bulb where it says, okay, cool, do this. You'll be different from them right off the bat. Now going into our network, right? We're gonna raise that money and we're gonna spend it all.
100%.
You know, so
100%.
now we're not looking at it as, okay, who's our competitors in the podcast space in Canada? We're not saying that anymore. We're past that. Now we're saying, who's our competitors in the network space in North America?
Yeah. And like,
So now, if we want to compete with Barstool, if we want to compete with Valuetainment, think about how much money they're spending on a month to month.
correct.
So to catch up to them, we got to catch up.
And now again, guys, there's smart spending. We're not going to
Of
go out there
course.
and buy a Ferrari because we
No.
think that's going to make the network
A
better.
Lambo, yes. Ferrari, no.
We're going to go and we're going to get the big talent. We're going to build the proper studio. We're
Yes.
going to again build the framework and the foundation
Yes.
for what a network of that size, Valuetainment, Barstool, Unwell, like Call Her Daddy's new thing, like whatever size team and studio capabilities and all that stuff that they have, we're going to build for. We're going to build that foundation to be able to even put ourselves in that same range as them or even close, right?
Of course.
And so just to kind of wrap up that point, like you said, spend the money, put yourself into the unknown where you have no choice but to do the work because you've invested a certain amount of money into it. And even when you hit that mark that you thought would make you so happy, if you're a fucking real demon, spend more. Spend it all, buddy.
I want to say one thing to wrap that, just about the investment side, right? Because there's probably a lot of people watching that they have a goal to build a company and exit, right? And here's the thing about that. And investors, they buy into you as a person, right?
Yes.
And what are they looking for? They're looking for someone that they can relate to, but also live through. Does that make sense? Live through.
Yeah.
Guys look at us and they want to be part of what we're doing because they look at us and they're like, these guys are savages. I want to be on their team. They do things that I don't have the balls to do.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what they look at us and say, you guys spend that much money for that, or you guys made that much money doing that. And these are guys that make millions, tens of millions of dollars, right? So in terms of money, it's not like they're impressed. They're more impressed into who you are as a character. So if you could be someone that they look up to in different ways, not money related, if they can look up to you and say, this guy makes moves that I wish I could make.
Yeah.
If you're that person, you're good. You're going to be okay. Put yourself in the right rooms, make sure the right people see you, and make sure you're an absolute savage when it comes to business, because the right people will notice. People that appreciate what you do and people that are even more successful than you in many ways, they're going to be the ones that see that.
No, you're right. It's true. I think, and you know, this is something that we've been learning in this process of, because the idea to raise capital came fucking eight, nine, almost a year ago. And obviously this has been a process that we've been learning, but I think you nailed it perfectly. These guys, anyone who's going to invest in you and put money into you, yes, obviously you need to have some business to show them, and so they can see, hey, this guy knows how to make money. But for us, the biggest thing has been, these guys have fucking balls of steel, bro. They're willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what set us apart so far in Canada. But now that we want to make that jump to the States and really try to take over there and build this network there, it's like, well, our competitors are guys, our balls are steel. Theirs are fucking platinum. Theirs are like fucking, these are guys who go hard every day. And so it's like, we got to now level up, right?
But also to touch on that, one more point, which I think is massive.
Yeah.
Think about all the sacrifices that we made that are also clear as day to people to witness.
For sure.
Like they see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, these guys are in Miami for 4 months of the year. Think about what that does to their family or their relationships.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are going nonstop. They haven't stopped for 5, 6, 7 years. Think about, you know, our health.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have the time to, you know, and again, I'm not making excuses.
Yeah.
But our health, this, that, all these different things that we had to sacrifice to get here today. And again, guess who looks at that and says, that's why I believe in them? The investors, the people above you that are going to look at you and say, I believe in this kid.
Yeah.
You made sacrifices that they wish they would make.
At that time, at that age, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever it might be. So the point is to make, the bigger the sacrifice, the better the result you're going to get, right? So you have to sacrifice. It's not going to, these guys need to look at you. People that are going to buy into your company or believe in you, you have to be more of a savage than them.
No, it's fine.
You have to be willing to give more up than them. They're already at the top. They have the money. They have the connections. They have the money.
Yeah.
Now you got to provide value that they need, which is a savage that's going to work hard, have balls, and sacrifice anything possible to take it to the next level.
No, you're right. And again, these are people that have money. They have the tens of millions of dollars. Yep. So, you know, to make a couple more million, to them, they're like, I can just leave my money in a bank account and I'll make my interest and I'll get there. They're looking and saying, these two motherfuckers go so hard, are willing to do whatever the fuck it takes, travel, leave their family, leave their relationships, fucking grind, not eat for 20 days if they had to build a company big enough to the point where my $1 million, $2 million investment will be fucking $60, $70 million one day.
Of course.
But again, it's less about like the model of the business. Obviously, again, that's important.
You can't be losing 50 G's a month.
But it's less about that, but more about, like you said, the people who are behind it and how willing they are to get the job done at whatever the fuck, you know, to do whatever the fuck it takes. So yeah, that's not to continue going on that, but that's what the fuck is going on here. That's again why this show has been, we haven't been chasing the big guests and stuff like that for the time being, but we will in the next month or two. You guys will see some really fire guests.
The summer's gonna be huge.
We got a lot of big shit coming when it comes to
Miami. We're gonna be in LA for VCon with Gary V and the boys. So we got a lot of cool guests out there, and who knows? That's just what we have planned right now.
Yeah, but it comes. You know, it's Miami. People come in Elwa, and we're gonna be. And for the first time, we never done this before, but we're gonna go out and pay for some guests.
Yep.
We've always been against doing that, but we've realized obviously as this space has become very saturated. The biggest guests you can get, I guess, are now saying like, dude, you got to pay me to come on type of thing. And we're not, listen, we're not impulsive. We're not PBD, you know, we're not Full Send Podcast. We're not these guys yet. And so we don't have that pull. So bro, if we got to throw a couple grand at somebody to come on, obviously we have limits. We'll do it. So we got some big stuff coming. And like, again, just wanted to say like, this is why you guys haven't seen us putting so much effort into like the guests and stuff like that. But it's coming. It's just, we've just been doing the fucking legwork in the background, and you know, we're gonna bring something really special, and hopefully we can be the next thing to come out of, you know, this city that gives people hope and lets people dream that it is possible in this space to do something big, you know, and not just get locked in this bubble.
Yep.
Just feeling like, hey, we're just in Toronto, we're just in Canada, we can never take that next step and grow in the States. Because it's a big thing for Canadians, at least, to like make it, quote unquote, in the States.
Of course.
It's hard to do that, right? And so hopefully we can be that sort of beacon of hope, the same way I think Drake was for a lot of artists.
Yep.
We can do that, and maybe in the entertainment space to some extent.
But we won't have an OVO sweatshop though.
Well, no, our whole model is building up people. We've said this, and this, I think this is important in terms of when we're building our network, is like, dude, I pray that we have 20 shows that are bigger than us.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
We understand right now we are sort of the anchor, but I really feel like in the next 6 to 12 months, we won't be anymore. And we can just sort of be in that like let's say Dave Portnoy role to Barstool, where it's like, he's just like the guy at the top and he pops in on all the shows and he fucks around and he says what's going on and he sort of steers the ship. But, you know, we have a caller daddy that maybe Spotify wants to buy for $100 million. Beautiful. Yeah. And I really think we can build people there if they're the right people and we're willing to invest.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a
That's
big
the
stuff
catch
coming.
up.
Yeah.
That's the catch up. Miami next week. So by the time this comes out, we're leaving
a couple days later.
Yeah, a couple
days.
Yeah. Me
So
and
exciting.
Sorella going for a roadie. 24-hour roadie for the
That's
boys.
messed up, bro.
You know, Jay's lucky he doesn't have to come on that one. Jay's meeting us a bit later, but yeah, no, I'm super excited. And another thing I want to say is we appreciate all the support, the ongoing support that you guys have been giving us. I know, like Anthony said, hasn't been at the highest level right now. We just have a lot going on, but we wanted to keep bringing you consistency with this episode. We kind of just wanted to update you on what's going on, just to make sure you guys don't think we're dead. Okay.
Okay.
You want to have fun?
I want to transition a bit.
You're going to transition?
I want to transition a bit.
I knew you were going to do it.
Because not that kind of transition. I just been fucking deep in on Reddit and Twitter and just trying to like figure my life out and
fuck. That's where you're going?
Reddit? Well, whatever. I dive in. I dive in to see like how people handle certain things and like more like mindset stuff. And I found something pretty interesting because I feel like I'm so bad at this and I have to get better. And it's something called the validation trap.
Okay.
So what is the validation trap? So I think like for me at least, when like the reason I want to like grow and make all this money and be successful is because obviously I want to like give back to my parents and give back to the people I love and you know, be able to like give to the team and to the people who believed in me as I built and as I grew and as I tried all these things and took these risks, right? And initially you think it's like, oh, the money. You think it's like, oh, like, dude, when I give my mom $1 million check or I give my mom the house she always wanted, like that's what's going to make me happy, or like that's what's going to finally make me happy. And then I was reading more into this validation trap and basically what it's saying is like, it's not the actual act of like giving the money that's making you happy. It's the emotional shift in the person that brings you the dopamine, that brings you the high, right? So seeing your mom go from like depressed and like, oh, I wish I had this, to all of a sudden she has it, and it's literally you seeing her face light up, right?
That's the moment
that's the moment that like brings you the validation.
Yeah.
Now, what happens a lot is people will go to their mom. I'm using this as an example. People will go to their mom and say, Mom, I'm working so hard. I'm going to buy you that house you always wanted one day. You know, and she lights up and she smiles and she goes, you know, thank you, Anthony. Like, I know you're working hard. Like, I know you're going to do it, whatever. What ends up happening is you see that emotional shift in her in the moment that you told her what you're going to do. And now all of a sudden your brain is wired to say, oh, you got it.
Yeah,
like you got the emotional shift.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you pick up your phone, you're back to scrolling on fucking TikTok and doing nothing to get towards that goal.
Yeah.
So now to roll it back, that's the validation trap. So what they say is, and it's interesting because me and you have been very opposite of this a lot of the times, where it's like sometimes you need to not say what you're doing. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I think it's more towards the people that you love and the people that you're actually doing it directly for. Sometimes you need to not say it to them because you end up getting trapped, right? Yeah. Where you're like, your mom's like, yeah, yeah, Ernesto, I know you're going to do that for me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get that feeling inside. You're like, oh, my mom believes in me. Oh my God. And then you kind of, you deflate.
That's the prize you got.
Right?
You already got it.
You already got the prize. And so I thought that was pretty interesting because I have a bad habit of doing that because I want my family and the people I love and the people I'm doing this for directly to know that I'm working for them. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes I actually get trapped in the validation of my mom saying, or my dad saying, yeah, I see what you're doing and I know you're going to get there. And then it kind of gives it to me. And all of a sudden I'm a little bit less motivated.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that ever happen to you?
I think I'm not doing it as often. And I think if you do it less, the power remains. And it's even in how you do it, right? Like, I'm not going to tell my mom every day, you know, Mom, I can't wait to buy you a $10 million mansion. You know, I'll tell her that maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
And then the in between is kind of like, you know, if she brings up something about working hard or this, I'll just be like, you know why I'm working hard.
Yeah.
Like, so it's different.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm
Yeah.
doing it in a different way where it's like, you know why I'm doing this or you know, I can't wait to the moment where we all enjoy this.
Yeah.
I'm doing it in different ways. But I see what you're saying because I still get that feeling if I was to say something like, you know, to my sister, you know, I can't wait to sell a company and give you a couple $1 million. You could go do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And she goes, I know, Ernesto.
Yes.
I know you're going to do that. I
Yes.
see what you're doing. And then you kind of get it a little bit,
I think
right?
there's a balance in between, you know, and you have to kind of, I agree with you, keep it internal as well at times. And I think to go on that, what's helped me keep it internal a lot more is journaling.
Yeah, good
Right?
point,
Because
yeah.
I just write it and I don't have to say it anymore.
True.
Right? It's just another way you get it out of your head.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that journaling for me was like the reason that, you know, I used to be a guy who I used to speak about I used to just say anything that came in my head, bro. Bad, good, horrible.
Yeah.
You know, and I found myself, you know, 5-6 years ago, just like, you know, I was a nutcase. I would just say horrible things to people that I care about. I'd be like, bro, like, why would I do that? Like an hour later, I'm like,
Yeah.
and then I journaled and I found that it was just something that I needed to get. It wasn't about the person I was getting. Anyways, that's just like journaling in general.
No,
but what I'm saying about the manifestation is
That's a good point though, because
if you write it,
yeah.
it's out of you.
No, and I actually like that. I think that's a really good point because that's where like when I was reading about this thing, the validation trap, I was torn because I'm also a believer of like you need to put it out into the universe for it to happen.
Yeah.
But then it's like, when you're putting it out to the people that you're doing
Well,
it
it's
for,
the same 4 people.
that's what I'm saying. So now you say journaling, I'm like, fuck that makes sense because then it still comes out of you,
Yeah.
but it's private in a way.
But also, when you write it and you read it,
it becomes real.
it becomes real. But you also might have second thoughts about what you said.
True. Yeah, that's okay. That's
Right?
fair.
Because you're like, because sometimes when we say it to our family, our friends, the people we care about, it's the first time we're actually even saying it.
Yeah, facts.
So they're hearing it for the first time, just as you're saying it for the first time.
Yeah,
Right.
fair.
So it's like I got a lot better with my words
Yeah.
and deciding what I'm saying to who and when, because man, words are the most powerful thing.
Yeah, no,
you know.
it's true.
So and again, you can get into that whole thing. What if I tell my mom that every day, and it doesn't happen?
Yeah. Well, it won't. It literally won't because I'm telling you, you're gonna get trapped in the validation trap.
Well, there you go. I said it for a year. What's the point of even buying the house now? She's happy.
Yeah.
It's in her head.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? So I think journaling's huge for that, especially as you get higher to the top, you have less people that relate to you.
Yeah.
So it's hard to talk about this, let's say, with an old time friend or a lot of people.
No, but and that's a good point. And this is why I'm so torn about it. I think journaling sounds great. I've never done it.
You got to.
It sounds great because, and this is
You don't have to make it like, bro, I got to do it every morning at 8 a.m. You got to just do it whenever
you
feel like
feel it.
something's on your mind.
No, but it's a good point. And then the whole like even to the extra layer of that in the terms of like what you said, where you're like people, it gets harder to relate to people as you grow because, dude, I love my grade school friends, right?
Of course.
But like when I sit with them, and if I sit with them and I tell them like, dude, I'm chasing $1 billion valuation, like I'm chasing like a dream of buying my mom a $10 million house. I want a $50 million mansion just for myself.
Yeah.
I want all this shit. And when they can't relate to it, I'm kind of like,
You know what's happening most
feels
of the
weird,
time?
bro. It starts to feel weird,
Most
right?
of the time, the shitty part is when you're doing that with someone who can't relate, it's going, number one, it's going in one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
Because number two, while you're saying that, they're comparing themselves to you,
Yeah.
right? So when that happens, you feel bad.
Yeah. And
You know,
I was gonna say
and
it's bad energy.
it is. Well,
Yeah.
it's the opposite energy because what's going on in most likely their mind is the complete opposite. They're looking at you and saying, "This guy's talking about $1 billion. This guy's doing this. I'm trying to pay my bills. I got this happening. I got this. I got to go to the whatever it might be."
Yeah.
So it's hard to find those people, and when you do, and that's why things like the Wealth Club even came to life.
Yeah.
Side note, you want to find people that can help uplift you and have similar mindsets than you, or tell these things to people that are actually inspired.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
I don't really talk to like my high school friends about business or anything like that.
You can't.
But I'll talk to, let's say, a kid on IG who's 20 years old who's looking for advice. I'll say, bro, this is what I'm trying to do. So think about what you can do.
Yeah.
You know, you're 19. So it's like it depends. It's all on the receiver.
Well,
and because I can't depend on the receivers, who they are and how they're going to take it, I journal.
No, and it's a good point. And even to the point of like, I think this is important, right? Because I also don't want to I want to bring it back. I don't want to bash and say oh, once you grow, you should never talk to your childhood friends because they don't have the same dreams. It's just when you talk about these massive dreams for people who aren't trying to reach those, who aren't trying to attain the same heights and reach the same goals as you, even if they love you and care about you and want you to hit those, inherently as humans, there and becomes an envy aspect to it.
Yeah.
And even if they're not trying to, it's the energy, there's an energy shift and all of a sudden they're envious of you, even if they don't want to be. It's just a natural instinct that humans have. So yeah, journaling, great. Okay, done. Thank you for that.
That's literally it, right? So, and again, don't be afraid to. You don't have to keep everything to like I said, I like to journal, but I also like to tell my goals to people who appreciate them. I think that's key. You know, your biggest hater is someone you know, and your biggest fan is a stranger. So keep that in your mind. Now, not everyone close to you is your hater, that's for sure. But the people closest to you are, and again, I did a whole reel on this on my IG too, right? About the hating and this and that. It's not that they hate you, it's indirectly, and they just can't see eye to eye with you. It's very simple. It's very simple. And they can either just trust the process and come on the journey or not. It's like our family. They don't know anything about they know a little bit about what we do. They don't get it fully, but they just trust us and they say, let's keep it moving. I believe in you, right? So yeah, be careful who you tell your dreams to, and journal.
So to bounce off that, there's another thing I want to talk about. This is more for our I mean, this is really for anybody, I think. I was going to say men, but I think it's for everybody. But I seen this clip of Shia LaBeouf talking about how he shifted his mindset. And he said, for the longest time, my purpose in life was to be happy. And he's like, now my purpose in life is to be useful. And he's like,
because that's happiness.
That shift in mindset, he said, changed everything for me. When I was chasing happiness, I was so depressed. I was so sad because I never felt like I could attain this vision of happiness that I had for myself. He's like, as soon as I shifted to being useful, everything changed for me because now I'm useful to the people I love. I'm providing value to the people that I care about and the people and the world in general.
Bro.
And all of a sudden, I'm happy. And I think as humans, we've lost that. A long time ago, I'm not going to put a year on it. A long time ago, the focus was dude, you, as a man at least, and as women had their own uses, but I'll speak for men, was you got up, you were useful to your family because you worked hard, you put food on the table, you went to work, you grinded, you ate shit, you fucking bought the house, you paid the mortgage, you paid for everything, you put, all of that stuff, right? And vice versa for women, at that time, it was get up, take care of the house, make sure it's clean, make sure dinner's cooked, make sure the children were taken care of, all of these things, whatever. And humans focused on being useful first. They weren't worried about oh, did I wake up happy this morning? Am I fucking depressed this morning? No, dude. It was you woke up and you had a fucking job to do.
Yep.
And as life became easier into the 2000s, everyone stopped worrying about being fucking useful because it was so easy. Life was so easy. And all we started focusing on was, how do I be happy?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, being useful was what made people happy.
Yep.
Knowing that there was people who relied on them for whatever their role was in their family, in their workplace, and whatever.
Yep.
And that's what brought people happiness. And so I watched this clip and it was so powerful. And I go, yeah, you know what? This makes fucking sense. Like, I want to wake up every day and I want to be useful to my family. I want to be useful to my girlfriend. I want to be useful to my team, you, Jay. I want everyone to feel like if we don't have Sorella, if Anthony's not here, fuck, there's a void.
Yeah.
We're missing a big void.
Yep.
And that mindset will bring you happiness.
Yeah. It's you know what it is, bro? And it's the same thing. Useful. Purpose.
Purpose.
Having purpose.
Yes.
Right? Why do old people die, earlier than they might? Why do they die? They die because they're lonely and they have no purpose.
Yeah.
Why do men who are 35 years old commit suicide? They have no purpose in life.
Yeah.
They're looking around and saying, if I'm here or not, it doesn't matter.
Or their purpose is skewed.
Sure.
Their purpose is, I need to be happy.
Sure.
No.
Of course. But again, when you have that purpose, let's say your purpose is just happiness.
Yes.
That's where you get into bad things because
Correct.
then you're looking for temporary happiness. You're
Dopamine
going to go
and-
get drunk.
Yeah.
I'm happy. The next day, I'm sad. Let's
Yeah.
get happy again. Now you're getting into addiction. You're getting
Yes.
into the same thing. You lose your purpose completely.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a purpose, you have no soul anymore.
Dude, your
soul is gone.
We are built to work.
Yes.
We are built to bring value to the world.
Now, how many people they're alive, but they're dead?
Yeah. Oh, dude.
They have no soul.
Tons.
Because the purpose in their life is gone.
Yeah.
They're not useful to anybody, right? They're not useful to anything.
Yeah.
They go to their job, they're useless.
Yeah.
They go home, they're useless.
Or like, because people will be like, well, if I work, but like, okay, what job do you do? And I don't want to shit on people, but
No.
like, I have to use this as an example. Like, what do you do, bro? You're a bartender?
Even,
Like, no.
I'll even go worse than that.
Okay.
Because bartender, at least, Bello, give me a drink. We got an exchange here. If you're a fucking parking police,
Oh, no, they're the fuck those guys. Fuck
fuck
those
you,
guys.
man.
I hate
Fuck you.
There you
Okay?
go. But my point, and then that's where people, like, the understanding of like routine is important.
Yes.
Because waking up and having to go to a job is a good thing. And this is what I try to preach to people. You should feel blessed that you get to wake up and provide value.
Yes. I want to
Right?
play a Joe Rogan clip because what you're saying, if that's cool.
Yeah, play it. I just while you pull it up, and I think that, so then people mistake work. Like they think it's like such a shitty thing. You think it's a shitty thing because your work isn't providing real value. That's why I use bartenders. And I'm not trying to shit on them.
No.
People
But no, why I said
specifically.
bartenders because that for me, that's like a stepping stone job. So you can have purpose and
No,
still do that job.
fine,
Like parking
but
police, like, bro, what's the next level, bro?
No, but I'm saying like when
you're
I say,
like you're giving parking tickets to planes at the airport.
But I'm just
Or
saying,
you can't park here, bro.
But I'm just saying, like, the point of like, okay, yes, but in the action of bartending,
Like for example, Dave Grumman was a bartender at one point.
okay, but hold on, he grew. He
of
grew
course,
and he
of
grew.
course. But I'm saying stepping
But I'm
stone.
saying, okay, there's people who bartend for 20 years of their life.
No.
Now
Okay.
you're 45.
Yeah.
My point is what's your purpose in doing that?
Yes.
Like the value you're providing to people, not for nothing. I'm not trying to be like anti-alcohol drinking guy. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of value in that. There's not a lot of tangible value in serving shots all night.
No. Listen.
Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Of course, I agree.
I'm not trying to shit on people specifically.
Do I think there's
It's-
higher purposes? For sure. Why I'm going to say, because the bartender, in my opinion, had the choice to be a parking police or a bartender, and they chose bartender.
hate parking
So I have a
police,
little
eh?
bit more respect. I'm going to play this. This is like it's like an audio of Joe Rogan, but it's like a tune.
Play it, yeah. Run
Well,
it
but
up.
he talks about what you talked about.
Okay.
The one thing that discipline definitely does help you with, it helps you get things done. And when you get things done, when you actually do things, you have more success. A big part of success is just not being fucking lazy and just doing it. 90% of it is just showing up. Get there and start working. Like, you're not gonna feel perfect every day. If I only worked out when I felt good, I'd be a fat fuck. Because there's a lot of days I don't want to do it. I mean, it's pretty much the same with everybody that actually gets good at something. There's got to be those days you push through. They're probably going to be more numerous than the days you don't.
So what he's saying is there's going to be more days than not that you don't feel like doing it. It's not about being motivated when you wake up. It's about discipline, like you said.
Yeah.
Having that routine.
Yeah.
And what he's talking about here is that's how the mind works. You wake up, you make your bed, your brain goes cha-ching.
Yeah.
Task done.
10 points.
10 points.
Yeah.
You're someone today.
Yeah.
You did something today.
Yeah.
And that's why Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, they're the biggest preachers of this. Start with one small task every day.
Yeah.
Just to get your mind saying, oh, I can accomplish something.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people start with the hardest task. That's why they go to the gym. They cold plunge. But unless you have a setup or a routine that you're checking things off in your brain day to day, you're always going to be waiting for motivation. You're waiting for the sun to come out. You know? You're saying, oh, today's a bad day. I don't got to do this.
Yeah.
The people who are successful, like he said in this audio, 99% of the days, they didn't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
That's what made the difference. If you only do it when you feel like doing it, you're going to be doing it once, twice a month, 3 times a month.
But the things that you do need to make you useful
Purpose.
to society.
And exactly.
There needs to be real.
When you check in
Yeah.
to a mental institution,
Yeah.
CAMH, the first thing they teach you when you wake up, make your bed.
Yeah.
The second thing, brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Take a shower. Walk 100 steps.
Yeah.
It's not about brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
It's good for you, good purpose. Checking it off in your mind, then you get to go to the next one saying, I'm better than I was last hour.
Yeah.
I'm already better.
Yeah.
If you can move like that during the day, you're gonna be good.
But you still gotta okay, so let's use that as an example, right? You wake up, make your bed, brush your teeth, boom, check, 20 points, 10, okay. But then you get up and you go to a fucking place and a job where there's no value. You wake up and then you go to your parking police job. So although you've done those first 2 steps,
Yes.
the third step, the what's supposed to be your value to the world
Yes.
is fucking brutal.
Yes.
And that's where my point where that third piece, the way you are useful
Yes.
in this world needs to be of real value.
And why I think they didn't hit that yet, before you give value to this world, you have to provide value for yourself.
Boom. Yeah.
That's
I agree.
it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree
Because
with that.
I ain't gonna help you if I can't help myself, bro.
Facts.
Right? So that's why it's like, okay, self-improvement habits.
Yeah.
If I make my bed today and I didn't make it yesterday, I'm
Yeah.
better today.
Yeah.
And to myself, not to you, obviously. That doesn't matter to you.
Yeah.
But guess what I get to do now? When you finally see me that day, I'm gonna move a bit different.
But now this is why I use the bartender example, okay? So I'm not talking about the person who does it while they're in school to make some extra money.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the person who's been doing it for 10 years already, 8 to 10 years. They're in their late 20s, whatever. It's like, bro, the reason you can't get out of that is because you aren't helping yourself first. You haven't put yourself in a position to move into a job or a workplace where you're providing real value, and you've been stuck in this demonic energy where it's easier to just pass shots out, have some shots, and move on.
Bro, if you're not aware of your self-growth,
Yeah.
you're living Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. That's how you live.
Yeah. Yeah.
I live, you know how I live?
Just daily.
I live day to day, but I also, guess what, keep in my head? 2025, 2026, 2027. And I'm only able to do that.
But the days of the week don't matter to you.
Never.
Yeah.
They
Same
never
thing
do.
as me. It's the
They
same
never
thing,
do.
yeah.
I don't even know what day it is today, bro. Like, I'm serious. I don't know because it doesn't matter. I look at life as a video game. I wake up every day and I say, I want to level up.
This guy's living GTA, real life.
I want to
baby.
level up.
Yeah.
What's going to help me? Let's do things that are going to help me. Read 10 pages of this book. Go to the gym. Talk to this person about this. Help a teammate. Hire someone. Bring someone up. Give someone an opportunity. That's how I feel useful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So unless you're doing the self-work at the beginning, journaling.
Yeah.
If you journal every day, that bartender will have more of a purpose now.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
guess what? They're thinking a little bit more ahead. Hey, I was bartending last night. Maybe I'm not feeling this environment anymore.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it tomorrow. Let's see how we feel again.
Yeah.
If you're doing that for a month, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
But you won't know that unless you're taking note.
Yeah. True.
Because you're gonna live day to day, day to day, day to day, and you're gonna look around and say, all these people around me, they're leveling up. Because they have purpose. They created their own purpose. No one's gonna come to you, knock on your door with an envelope that says purpose on it, and say, "Hey, here you go. You're good now."
But I believe, bro, everyone knows. Everyone deep inside knows
What to do.
They know what their purpose. They know the value they can provide to this world in whatever industry, market, whatever the fuck it is. Yet, this is where the daily habit, the routine comes into play, and that's where everyone falls off. Everyone's a genius to some extent. A genius in some sort of thing, but they don't put the work in. They don't wake up with that mindset of like, I need to move into this direction. Yes. We were there, bro. Yeah. But we were there. We were promoting but when we did it, we were doing it with the purpose of saying, hey, we're in this demonic energy.
No, we were aware.
Industry right now, but we're taking this money to build this marketing agency. So we knew our exit plan.
And we knew our purpose while we were doing it.
People put themselves into these places where that are supposed to be temporary. That's why I keep going back to the bartender. They put themselves in these jobs and these workplaces that are supposed to be temporary, but before they go in, they don't even know what their exit plan is, and that's how they get stuck there forever.
Of course. And you know what? Even to touch on that, I don't mind no exit plan once you get in. I don't mind it, but you got to keep note what's happening.
No, I mind it. I think
because
here's
the thing, like you don't really know what's going to happen in terms of opportunities, right? Like,
okay, but let me ask you something. When you became a promoter,
yeah,
you went into it saying, I'm doing this to build connections.
Yes.
That's already enough of an exit plan.
Of course.
I'm not saying you knew exactly what your exit plan was.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
I'm saying there's people who go into promoting to say, I just want to make a lot of money. And then if that's your fucking exit plan, you're fucked. You're stuck there forever. And we know 100,000 guys in this fucking city that are stuck there who could be amazing geniuses, a brilliant businessmen at other things.
Yeah.
But they didn't go in with an exit plan, or even I'll call it an exit thought.
Yes.
And now they're stuck, bro.
Again, bro, for me, the one thing that can change everybody's mind is you have to be aware of your own life. Yeah. If you're not,
self-awareness.
If you're not looking at your life, like I said, I look at it, I'm not even joking, I look at it like a video game, bro.
Yeah.
If I wake up in the morning and I start getting tasks done, meditate, 10 points, bing.
Yeah.
Gym, 20 points, bing.
Yeah.
Call my mom, tell her I love her, 20 points, bing.
Yeah.
Relationship went up there. This went up. My fitness went up. I look at it like that.
Yeah. 10XP, 10XP.
XP's going
up. And they're small wins.
But guess what?
But over time,
and guess
they
what happens,
compound.
Charles, sometimes? Sometimes my XP in one level goes down.
Yeah.
And I have to re-up and say, oh, what just happened there? Why'd that happen? Sacrifice. Oh, fuck. Okay, it just happened.
Yeah.
But at least I'm aware.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
and it's the compounding of these little things.
Okay, so by 11 a.m., my video game, I racked up 150 points.
Yeah.
Guess what? People just waking up.
Yeah.
I'm going into my conversation with you, with Jay, with our team, with Natasha, with Anna. 150 points up.
Yeah. I'm up.
I'm up.
I'm up, bro.
You know, and people feel it.
Yeah.
People feel it in return. So when motivation. I look at, to wrap it all up, my purpose personally that I feel is, in general, is to inspire people.
Yeah.
That's my purpose in general.
Yeah, but and again, on a broader scale, that's being useful.
Yes, of course.
You're providing value, you're being useful.
When I think about it, and I'm like, if I was to die again, whatever, like, I'd be like, fuck, like, there's a lot of people that would be affected by that in a bad way.
Yeah.
And you know what? That keeps me going. And it's like, if I were to stop, not even die, just stop doing what I do, I would sacrifice tens of thousands of more people in my life being inspired by me.
Yeah.
That's for me, that's
I think for me, obviously I think inspiration's a big thing, but I think for me, if I had to say like what my value add is, or what I think my biggest value is like building and innovating ideas so that everything we're doing can continue to grow.
Yes.
Because I think that if the vision never shifts, slightly here and slightly there as things change, because we're in an ever-changing world and an ever-changing business model, then you're fucked. So I think for me, it's like, if I was to fucking die, the people around me would be like, where we go? Like, what's the next move? Like, what do we, so I'm not the biggest, I know where my value lies, and I'm not the best process guy the same way you are or whatnot, but I know that like the ideas that I can bring to the table, for me at least, is like where it's like, fuck, if we were to lose this guy, like that's a big piece of what we're losing, you know?
course.
And everyone plays their role. And that's why the team's so important and everything that we have. And I'm so grateful for it. And anyways, we won't go too much longer. But guys, once again, I appreciate you tapping in if you made it this far. And I hope you did. Lots of big things coming. Miami next week. We're there. Bigger episodes.
Merch out this week.
Everything. Merch out this week.
Go check out all the shows. Show them some love.
Yeah.
Tap in.
And we're going to be launching something really sick. So if you made it this far, good. You get to find out a little bit early. We're launching a little giveaway where if you buy any piece of merch from any of the shows under MBH TV, you're entered to win $5,000 cash.
Boom.
So pretty fire. With that being said, love you guys. We are out.